Hi Eagles, I've got a fun artist to teach you about. He's actually going to be our last artist to learn about this year. And we've got our a fun art project that we are going to do that's kind of different and will be exciting to do as our last project. So I'm going to introduce you to him. His name is Wayne Thiebaud, and he was born in 1920. He is actually still alive today. So he is 99 years old and will be 100 in November, which is pretty awesome. And the last time I looked him up, he's actually still painting, which is pretty amazing. So he started out his career working in high school for Walt Disney Productions. He did what's called in-betweens, and he drew cartoons of Jiminy Cricket, Pinocchio, and Goofy. And in-betweens are the drawings that are done in between actions. So back, 50, 60, 70 years ago, cartoons were done with drawings and not done digitally, and they were like a ton, hundreds of different little drawings that were put together to create movement. And he did the in-betweens for those three characters, which is kind of interesting. During World War II, Thiebaud served in the U.S. Army Air Forces as a cartoonist and artist. He actually was the artist for a cartoon strip called Alec, which was about an Army GI. And so that was pretty interesting. And then from there, he moved on to the 1st Air Force Motion Picture Unit, which was commanded by Ronald Reagan. So also very interesting. After the war, he came back and he worked in commercial art and did things for magazines, drew shoes and food and things like that. And then he went on to teach art at the community college. Wasn't called the community college, but a community college-like school in Sacramento. After teaching at the Sacramento City College, Wayne Thiebaud moved on to teach at the University of California in Davis, and he taught there for over 30 years, which is pretty amazing, and influenced many, many young artists, and also developed his own style and creativity and unique look to his artwork while working there. And he is known to be the artist of sweets or delicious food. One critic once said, "He must be the hungriest artist in California," which is kind of silly. So I'm going to show you a book about him, and I'm going to read a little bit about him. Okay, this book is called The Life and Art of Wayne Thiebaud. Delicious is the title, by Susan Goldman Rubin. Okay, and here is a photograph of Wayne painting in his studio. And I think it was taken in 1968. So Wayne Thiebaud loves food, especially desserts. Not only does he enjoy eating cakes, pies, and cupcakes, he also paints pictures of them. The word that best describes his art is delicious. Wayne paints these pictures from his memories, mostly from childhood. He remembers family picnics with tables piled high with homemade food. His mother, Alice, was a wonderful cook and baker. On rainy days, she set up art projects for Wayne and his younger sister, Marjorie Jean. Sometimes their Uncle Jess, a cartoonist, came over and drew funny pictures for them. Wayne decided he wanted to be a cartoonist, too. He never dreamed that one day he would become one of the best-known American painters of the 20th century. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of his paintings. Oh, not that one. Okay, here's a painting he did of gumball machines, and it's called Three Machines, and it was painted in 1963, and it was done using oil paints, which is similar to tempera paints, but a lot more difficult to use, so that's why we don't do that in school. But what I want you to notice is his bright colors and his very distinct shadows. And oftentimes he didn't use black for his shadows, he used blue. Okay. Here's another example of his artwork. So we've got this one called 4 Cupcakes, and you can see there's 4 different flavors of frosting. Yummy, yummy. And you can also see the distinct shadows and that he used blue to create a lot of that shadow that you see there. And also some blue on the cupcake liner to show shadow and to show form. Okay, and then over here we've got this one called Pie Slice. This was painted in 1991, so it's a little bit newer. And you can see, I don't know if you can see very close up, but you can see the thick paint that he used to create the top of that meringue and even the thick paint on the table. Okay, and again, blue shadow. Okay, and here's a fun one called Long Suckers. This was painted in 1997 and it is also done in oil. And just very fun. And you can see here, too, at the bottom, the shadow is done in blue. And the shadow even at the bottom of the sticks is done in blue. Okay, he did not always do his artwork in oils. Here's an example of cakes. It's called Celebration Cakes, done in 1992, and it's done with using pastels, not oil pastels, but kind of a chalk pastel on paper. Okay, and then here's an example called Cake Slices, and this is an example of actually one of his watercolors, and he only used black and grays and white, but done in watercolors. Okay, and this is a fun one called Party Tray, and it's just a variety of different sweets on a plate. But you know, if you look closely, you can see that the shadows are there. They're done using some blue paint. He's got some crisp, clean lines using blue, and the shadows are there. There's even a table. So oftentimes his pies or his treats, things like that, they're sitting on a table. That's an important thing to notice, so that when you guys create your artwork, that your artwork is not just floating in the sky, that it has a setting, that it's sitting on something. Okay, and oftentimes all that means is that you need some sort of horizontal line behind the subject that you're drawing. Okay, and then I'm going to show you one last one. And this one is called Jolly Cones, and it was painted in 2002. And what it is ice cream cones upside down, so that it looks like these cones are hats on the ice cream. So they kind of look like clowns. Very cute. Okay. So in spite of his enormous success and the many honors heaped upon him, Wayne remains modest. I think of myself as a beginner. Sometimes that's the whole joy. If you could just do it, there'd be no point in doing it. I don't think I've ever painted a picture I really felt too satisfied with. It's always the next picture that keeps you going. As recently as 2002, Wayne painted Jolly Cones, a pair of upside-down ice cream cones with happy faces. The silly cones sum up the spirit of Wayne's art, his sense of fun, his love of color, and his joy in painting happy pictures. Delicious. Okay, so for our project, you guys are going to be creating either a cupcake or a cake, and we're going to limit it to that because I'm going to tell you that for this project, I am going to join together with my sister, who owns a business called Delicately Sweet Confection. So you guys can search her on Google and look her up on Instagram. But she's an amazing baker, and she focuses on sweets. But what we would like you to focus on for this project is either creating a cupcake or a cake, and you are going to design it and draw it. You can use any medium that we have used this year. So that means you could do oil pastels, because we did those this year. You could do watercolors because we did that this year. You could also use the melting crayon technique that we did most recently in one of our projects since the stay home order. You could do collage. You could do crayon normal, you could do colored pencil. So whichever medium you want to use, but you are going to create your own cupcake or cake, and you're going to choose colors that represent flavor. So you want to think about what kind of flavors you're using and colors that you're using. And my sister is going to choose one to put on her menu. So she's going to feature your artwork on her menu, and then she's going to try to create that either that cupcake or that cake, and have that on her menu in the next couple weeks. Okay, so the art project is for you guys to design a cupcake or a cake. Okay, and so you can have as much fun with that as you want. You can take a look at her cakes and cupcakes and sweets on her website. You can also Google different cupcakes and cakes to get some ideas. And but I want you to think about Wayne Thiebaud's style. I want there to be some sort of emphasis on maybe some shadow. And what colors did he use for shadows? What was that color I kept saying?
Blue.
Blue. Okay, and then also make sure that your cake or cupcake isn't floating in midair. It needs to be sitting on some sort of table. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you some examples that we have done recently. Here is one that I did, and this is done using the melted crayon technique. Okay, and so I included a pedestal that the cupcake is sitting on, and I would guess that this is a brown paper that the cupcake is in, and that I used kind of a vanilla cake and some sort of lemon frosting with sprinkles. Okay, so, and again, it is sitting on a table. Okay, here's another example that my son did. He chose to do a rainbow cake. Okay, so maybe it's probably just a vanilla flavor, but done in a rainbow layers and with a white frosting with sprinkles on it. Okay, and here is one that one of my daughters did, where she is just doing a cake slice, because that works too. And it looks like it's a ganache chocolate frosting on top. Was it ganache? I don't even know if you call it frosting. I'm not the baker. And some sort of custard in the middle of her cake. Looks delicious. And she included it on a plate so it's not floating in the air. And then some fun pattern in the background. Okay, so I want you guys to have fun with this. I hope that a lot of you will participate in this. This is a fun way to end our year. It would have been much better to be with each other in person, but since we can't, I thought this would be a fun way to end our school year, kind of combining all the things that you guys have learned and letting you choose how you are going to do your artwork, okay? So when you finish it, I want you to make sure that you send it to me, take a picture of it and send it to me at jcarey@eagles.edu, or you can put it on my Facebook page. And then it will be due. So this one has a due date. It needs to be done and sent to me by June 12th. That way my sister has time to choose and then put it on her menu for the following week. So that final week of school, I think our last day of school is the 19th. So that week before that, June 14th through the 19th, she will feature your artwork on her menu and then try to recreate your suite and sell that to people, okay? So, really fun. I hope that you enjoy this and that you participate in this project. Okay, bye.